Hi everyone, my name is Sheree Jordan, and this week I'm going to discuss with you the Managerial Grid. It's created by Robert Blake and Jane Mouton. Robert Blake and Jane Mouton were both theoreticians who did pioneer work in the field of organizational dynamics. What they're best known for is creating the Managerial Grid. So what is the Managerial Grid? The Managerial Grid is a grid that identifies 5 different leadership styles based on the position on the grid. The grid is a 9x9 matrix, so technically there are really 81 positions that a leader's style can fall under. But today we're only going to discuss the 5 most common positions. Now the grid is like every other grid. There is an y-axis and there is an x-axis. Now on the managerial grid, the y-axis measures the manager's concern for people, and the x-axis measures the manager's concern for getting the task completed. Here's an example of the grid. The grid starts on the bottom left side and the 1-1 position here. And this is having a low concern for people. And as you move up the y-axis, your concern for people gets higher. Now on the x-axis, or the bottom of the grid, the 1-1 position is having a low concern for completing tasks. And as you move up the grid, your concern for production gets higher. So, the 5 different leadership styles are impoverished management, country club management, team management, task management, and middle of the road management. Impoverished management is at a 1-1 position. That means that there is a low concern for people as well as a low concern for production. Country club management is at a 9-1 position, which means there is a high concern for people and a low concern for production. Team management is at a 9-9 position, which means there is a high concern for people as well as a high concern for production. Task management is at a 1-9 position, which means there is a low concern for people and a very high concern for completing tasks. And middle of the road is at a 5-5 position, which means there is an equal relationship between concern for people and concern for production. Now we are going to discuss a little more in detail each individual management style. So impoverished management. Impoverished management has a concern for people at a 1, which is very low, and a concern for task at a 1, which is also very low. So what does this mean? This means that the manager is ineffective. He puts minimum effort into managing his people. He doesn't care about completing the task. He's disorganized and just all around a bad manager. Next is country club management. Country club managers have a very high concern for people at a level 9. And a very low concern for completing tasks. So this manager is very friendly with the employees. They create a very good work atmosphere, very relaxed, very enjoyable, but nothing gets done. The manager does not have control over his employees, and they pretty much have a country club work environment. Task management. Task management has a 1 for concern for people and a 9 for concern for task. This means that the manager puts minimum effort into management. Like his concern is not about the people. It's more so we have to get the task done. It's a very strict work environment. He probably micromanages. The employees are probably very unhappy with low morale, and there's probably a very high turnover rate because the employees are not happy at their with their work environment. Team management. Team management has a high concern for people at a level 9 and a high concern for task at a level 9 also. This is a very strong leadership style. The manager has a high concern for completing the task, but also cares a lot about the people and their staff. And the staff is very involved in making decisions. The manager cares. It's more of a team-oriented style of management. And it's pretty much an ideal management because you have an equal balance of care for your staff, but you also have a care for the level of work that you're getting done. So this is a great management style, but it's also very hard to find this kind of manager. Last but not least, we have middle of the road management. This manager has a 5 for concern for people and a 5 for concern for tasks. So this manager is very diplomatic. He compromises, and it's not a very effective leadership style because he just wants to maintain. It's not like he wants to do a great job. He just wants to get by. So he concerns a little bit about his people. He's concerned a little bit about his work. It's like just enough to maintain and appear as though your work is acceptable. So the article that I found, it was in the Bloomberg Business Week, and it's called How to Prove Yourself as CEO on Day 1. And I thought this was really interesting because it wasn't discussing the management styles. It was discussing a CEO who had just come into this position, and she's expected to get results. And it discusses how it forces you to have a certain type of management style based on the pressures that are put on you to perform. So I thought that was interesting because, naturally it may not be your management style of how you would like to run things, but it goes into, based off of the pressures that are put on you, what type of management style it forces you to be placed into. Now, this woman, she, again, was very task management based, and she came in, and her whole philosophy based off the pressures that were put on her was prove your worth, prove your value, or you're cut. My discussion board activity is to watch the videos and determine the management style that you believe it to be. I will post a link in the discussion board post and answer the below question. If you were a manager, where do you think your leadership style would fall within the grid? Now that's all I have. Thanks for watching.